In the previous session, we have started working on Swift basics, variables, constants, and comments. In today's session, we are going to continue further. So we have to understand the numeric literals part. After understanding the numeric literals, we'll understand how the type conversions are being done in Swift programming language. Followed by, we'll understand integer and floating point conversions. Then we'll understand type aliases. How do we create aliases in Swift? The booleans in Swift, how we create tuples, which is a data structure. And finally, we'll consider what are optionals, what is nil, how if statements and how if statements are created, then how we do optional binding. These are the concepts which we need to cover up in the basics. Okay. Then we'll do take care of exception handling with try catch blocks. And then there are assertions and preconditions, which are mostly required for debugging. Debugging for assertions can also be done. Assertions is just like unit test cases. Then we have enforcement of preconditions and all, followed by we can continue towards basic operators, characters, collections, and other important concepts. So now we'll quickly get into here the numeric literals, and I'm going to test it in the online Swift playground. Now, so what are we going to do? First of all, we are going to create a few numeric literals with the constants. So let's say we are going to create a decimal number which will have no prefix. Then you can have a binary number with a 0b prefix. So what you can do is you can create the same value in binary. You can create the same value in octal. You can also create the same value in hexadecimal. Okay. So Swift allows us to do that. So what we can do is in this demo, what are we going to do? We are going to create a numeric literal using binary, using binary, octal, and hex. Okay, as well as
Yes.
the digital, the decimal one, the decimal, binary, octal, and hex. Okay, so when we create a binary number, so we can quickly create, let's, this is going to be my decimal number. The decimal number is 17. We can quickly define it in this way. So this is the default way of defining the decimal number, but we can also create binary numbers also. Okay, so binary number for 17 is written as 1001. Okay, this is the binary number 1001, and this 1001 represents 17 in binary. But how we can define that we are creating a binary? By defining this notation 0b. 0b stands for binary, and then we can define the binary value. Okay, so this will create number 17 but in binary notations. A lot of conversions, a lot of variables, when you will debug in the disassembler or anything like that, you might get a lot of those in binary format only, or in the hex format. Whenever we perform memory debugging or RAM debugging, where we try to access the stack of a program and we try to reverse engineer it, most you are going to get the values in binary. So you should not look those in decimal number notation. You should always be processing that through binary notations only. Okay, so uh, in Swift we can do that. Then you can have an octal number as well. So you can define O, number 0, then O, and then you can define the octal number. So the octal number is 21, which represents 17 in octadecimal notation. Followed by we have the hexadecimal notation. We can call it as a hex number, and hex number is something written as OX11. Okay, so OX11 is the hexadecimal notation. Is that clear? So this is how
Yes.
we can quickly define the notations. Now, similarly, we have floating point literals and decimal values also. So we can define the decimal values, we can define the exponential values, and we can define the hexadecimal double number as well for the same value 12.1875. Okay, so this is how you can actually implement it. Plus, you can define the padded values. You can define values over 1 million in this format by using the underscores. Okay, we can also do that. So we can define the underscore so as to give it a proper, you know, notification or the notation how it is created. So, but we would not be using a lot of these hard-coded hexadecimal double and all of that stuff. Okay, it is rarely required in it is required only in those applications where we do need to do a lot of conversions, such as the network based applications and so. But in general applications, we don't need a lot of these you know, the hexadecimal double and all of that stuff. But it's a good idea that if you know that, it's best. Now I'll go to the next part, the numeric type conversions. Okay, so how you can do that? What is numeric type conversion? So you can use the integer type for all general purpose integer constants and variables in your code, even if they are known to be non-negative. Using the default integer type in everyday situation means that integer constants and variables are immediately interoperable in your code and will match the info type for integer literal values, which means you can quickly create decimal number notations in an integer format by default. Okay, but there are other integer types when they are specifically needed for the task because of explicitly sized data from an external source, or for performance, memory usage, or other necessary optimization. What do we do is, a lot of times we actually use the explicitly used integer literals, which can be used at a specific situation, and it helps us catch accidental overflows. So this is very, very important when it comes to protecting the memory stack from being exploited. Generally, what people do, they might use integer and they might be allotting a lot of extra space, which might not be required for the program. Okay, so in order to have a program written in a memory optimized format, it is always a good idea to make use of integer conversions and use the appropriate integer type conversion. The meaning of this is, suppose you are using integer all the time when creating a variable. What it is going to do, it will always give you 32 bits of space, and you might not be using that complete 32 bits. You might be using only 2 bits, might be possible, and the 30 bits is open. Okay, so a hacker can exploit that memory space to keep his shell or to keep his minimized content. So it is always a good idea to avoid the overflow. What do? Is we give the appropriate size to a variable or a constant in the program by using these integer conversions. Okay, so you integer 8 stands for 8 bits, you integer 16 stands for 16 bits. So we are not going to give additional memory space to the variables whenever we create the programs. Is that clear?
Yes.
So you can quickly define it in this way. Let's say you want to create an integer which cannot be negative. Okay, so I'm going to create, let's say, non-negative integer. I'm creating a non-negative integer. This is going to be of u integer 8 bits. Okay, and I'm going to initialize it with -1. So uint8 cannot store negative numbers. Okay, it's a 8-bit, so you cannot store an integer number 8. So when I'm doing this -1 here, so when I run this, it is going to give me errors. So if I do that, so you can see that it says error negative integer. -1 overflows when stored into unsigned type. So now you can see that I cannot store a negative number into uint8 because uint8 can only store the positive values. Okay, is that clear? So now you can see that it shows me done. The program executed successfully. Clear?
Yes.
Now there is one more integer in our integer 8 can't store a number larger than its maximum value. So this will also report into an error. Okay. So let's say what I'm doing is storing a large value into int8. So int8 might have a specific space. Okay. So what am I going to do? I'll say int8.max. I'm going to print the value. Okay. Print the value of int8 max. So you can see that we can only store 127 as the maximum number in it. Okay. Because it's a 8-bit integer, 2 raised to the power 8, you can quickly calculate it as 128. So from 0 to 127, we can store the values. Okay, is that clear? So
Yes.
UINT8 can store a maximum value of up to 127. But if I try to store a value bigger than 127, okay, so it's going to give me error. So I've created a constant, let's say my value, and I'm defining that my value is going to be of integer 8 type. So this is the type where I'm defining that the my value is of int8 type. So, and I am saying that I want to store 128 in it. Okay, so if I run it, so it will show me that integer literal 128 overflows when stored into int8. So this means that's an overflow condition is hit because I'm trying to store a value which is bigger than its maximum size. But if I try to store 127, then it can properly store the value. Okay, if I print the value of my value, you can see that it can print the appropriate value 127. But in case if I want to try to store 129, which is above 127, so I'm going to get an error. And that is because of integer 8-bit. And why is that happening? Because you have an 8-bit integer stored, and the binary representation of 8-bit in numerical could be maximum 127, which would be all 7 times, all the 8 times 1.
Okay. So why do we have this limitation?
We have this limitation because we have defined the size, right?
No, we can store value up to 127 only, right?
In int8, in a 8-bit integer.
Okay. Okay.
I'll show you. Suppose you have a decimal number, okay, 127. If you want to see that in binary, you can see that it is all ones, which means you can see that it is 7 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 7 times 1. This is the maximum value which can be stored within this on an 8-bit integer.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Yes.
So that is why we say that, and the first one is for the positive sign.
Mhm.
So that's why we cannot store a value above than this. Above than 127, we cannot store. If we go to 128, suppose if I go to 128, okay, now you can see that it is crossing that number. It is accessing the signed number also. And then all the other elements, all the other 7 elements are 0. Can you see that? So we cannot take that.
Yes.
We cannot take that space. So 128 is not possible to store within this int8, but we can store that in a 16-bit number. So 16-bit number is, these are the 16 bits from 0 to 15. This is the 16-bit number. Okay. So if I show you, suppose tan mx mr. Okay, similarly, when you go to this, so when we go to 16-bit integer, 2 raised to the power 16 will take you to, I think, up to a value of 128, 256. So you won't be able to store value above 256 in that. So I'll show you. So if I convert 256, and if I show that in show binary, that's all zeros. And if I do 512, you can see that 512 is somewhere here. 1, so that 2 we can store in the 16-bit number. So this is going to be somewhere like 27,000. I think that would be somewhere would be the value. I'll say 28,000, and if I quickly show that 28,000 also I can store currently within a 16-bit number. 32,000. Sorry. 32. Okay, 32,000. But if I cross, let's say 3,20,000, I won't be able to store that in a 16-bit number, because you can see that it is crossing this. Can you see that? It is crossing the number of bits.
Yes. Hmm.
Okay, so if I do this, so storing numbers into a 16-bit variable. So if I say this is going to be my 16-bit variable, 16-bit constant. So I'm going to define it. It's going to be int 16. Okay. And if I store something like 32,000 in it, I can also define it as Unicode uint 16. So if I run that, I'm going to change this value. I can store up to max 127 in this. If I run it, so I'm able to store 32,000 here. Okay, and I'm going to print 16-bit constant because I'm using let. When I run it, you can see that 32,000 can be stored. But in the same, if I want to store 3,20,000 in it, and you can see that why we were able to store 32,000, because if you do 32, 1, 2, 3, so the value is coming somewhere here. Can you see that?
Yes.
So it is less than the maximum size. The maximum size could be all ones.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
So I can show you what could be the maximum value. The maximum value which we can store here could be this. Okay. So I'll do it. I'll print here. Maximum value which can be stored in a 16-bit number. It will be this print int 16.max. Max. If I run it, and I'm going to comment this. So if I run this, you can see that 32,767. This could be the maximum value which we can store. Okay. So 32,767. You can see that it is all ones.
Yes.
If I do it 32,768, 32768, then it's going to occupy the last digit and all the others will be 0. So that is the max limit, cannot be done. It is going beyond that 16-bit information. So we do need to take it in the another 32-bit variable. Okay, can you see that?
Yes.
So I cannot save it here. If I want to save this 32768, it's going to give me an error. It will say that you cannot store 32768 into int16, but you can store 32767. I think the one is 32,000, 16-bit constant, 32767. Okay, I have mistakenly defined it again. I have already created that 16-bit variable above, so I cannot do it, but I can store the value once again. Consecutive statements on line must be separated by, yeah. So here you can see that on Swift line number 28, if we are having consecutive numbers, then we can define that with semicolon. Okay, what I'll do is I'll just stop this one and this one. Integer 16, it's already defined. So if I try to store this value 32767, int constant, 16-bit constant, 16-bit constant. Okay. Okay, so I believe you are clear with that concept, that we can store a max value only within a variable when it comes to the storage of elements. Okay, is that clear?
Yes.
And you can quickly define the values in this way whenever you are using a variable with a notation somewhat like 1000, 2000, 3000 and all that. So you can separate the zeros with underscore also, so as to avoid the confusions. Okay, suppose I want to store 1200 or 2500, 20,500, something like that into a variable. Okay, let's say I'll create something like price, and in the price I want to store a value of 25,000, and sometimes I'm not clear whether I have used 3 zeros or 4 zeros. To separate it, we can make use of underscore also. That is also possible. Okay, we can do that. Is that clear? So
Yes.
define that with underscore, but the value will be printed accordingly. Okay, so suppose
Okay.
I want to define 25. Let's say I want to define 1 lakh. So we can define in this way: 1, 00, 000, like that. So we can run and we can get the appropriate value. So you can use as many underscores as you want when you are trying to define the variable or constant in a way where you have to use a lot of zeros, or you're using that point notation like thousands, hundreds, lakhs, and all that. So we can do that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.